The World Cup creates moments that outlive the players who create them. Goals, upsets, miracles. This is a ranking of the 15 greatest World Cup moments ever, not by importance, by feeling. Number 15. James Rodriguez's volley. Colombia against Uruguay in 2014, round of 16. A header drops out of the sky toward the edge of the box. James Rodriguez takes it on his chest, turns, and volleys it before the ball has finished falling. It strikes the underside of the bar and drops in. Colombia had never been past the quarter-finals. James had arrived at the tournament as a player most casual fans couldn't name. He left it as the Golden Boot winner and a Real Madrid signing. The goal won the Puskás Award. More than a decade later, it is still the first clip anyone plays when his name comes up. It is 15th for a simple reason. It was the most beautiful goal of the tournament, but it decided a round of 16 tie, not a country's destiny. Number 14. Tim Howard versus Belgium. Again in 2014. The United States against Belgium. A round of 16 tie the Americans were not supposed to survive. Belgium attacked for 90 minutes and then 30 more. Shot after shot after shot. And Tim Howard saved almost all of them. 16 saves. The most recorded in a World Cup match since the statistic began being kept in 1966. The United States still lost, 2-1 in extra time. Howard ended the night on the losing side and as the most famous goalkeeper on earth. For a country that at that time treated the World Cup as background noise, this was the one match it never forgot. The hashtag Things Tim Howard Could Save trended for days. It earns its place because it captured something football rarely shows so cleanly. A man can lose the match and still win the night. Number 13. Shabalala opens South Africa World Cup. 2010. The first World Cup held on African soil. The opening match, South Africa against Mexico. Sifiwe Shabalala collected the ball on the left, drove inside, and smashed it into the top corner. A continent that had waited its entire footballing history for this tournament had its first goal inside the first match. The stadium erupted into the sound that would define the whole summer. The players lined up on the touchline and danced like everyone was watching. The match finished 1-1. South Africa would go out in the group stage, the first host nation ever to do so. None of that is what anyone remembers. It sits here not for the goal alone, but for what it announced, that football had finally arrived somewhere it had never been. Number 12. Suarez bite Chiellini. Group stage in 2014. Uruguay against Italy. A game Uruguay had to win to survive. In the second half, off the ball, Luis Suarez leaned into Giorgio Chiellini's shoulder and bit him. Chiellini spun away, dragging down his collar to show the referee the teeth marks. The referee saw nothing and waved play on. Minutes later, Uruguay scored and won the game, knocking Italy out. It was the third time Suarez had bitten an opponent in his career. This time it was at a World Cup, on camera, in front of the planet. FIFA banned him for 4 months and sent him home. He never kicked another ball in Brazil. It is here for the simplest reason on the list, because it remains the most absurd thing anyone has ever done at a World Cup. A grown man bit another grown man, and the world spent a week arguing about it. Number 11. Götze wins Germany the World Cup. The final in 2014. Germany against Argentina. Goalless deep into extra time, penalties drawing closer with every minute. In the 113th minute, André Schürrle crosses from the left. Mario Götze, a substitute, 22 years old, chests the ball down and volleys it across goal before it touches the grass. It is the only goal of the match. Germany are world champions. Argentina and Messi are left to watch another team celebrate. Götze had been told before coming on to show the world he was better than Messi. He scored the goal that won the World Cup and never reached those heights again. It makes the list because an entire tournament, the 7-1, the years of German rebuilding, resolved into one touch from a substitute's left boot.
Number 10. Beckham's redemption penalty. In 1998, fouled by Diego Simeone, David Beckham flicked a leg back from the ground and kicked him. Red card. England went down to 10, lost on penalties, and went out. The country turned on him. An effigy hung outside a London pub, his face printed as a dartboard in the papers. He was the most hated man in England. 4 years later, the group stage. England against Argentina again. England win a penalty. Beckham, now captain, places the ball on the spot in front of the country that had spent 4 years blaming him. He buries it. 1-0, the only goal of the game, against the side that had broken him. The redemption was almost too neat to be real. Same opponent, the man who had carried the weight, given the chance to settle it himself. 10th, because the stakes here were personal rather than historic, the most cathartic group stage win England has ever had. Number 9. Suarez's handball in 2010. Quarter-final, Uruguay against Ghana. The last minute of extra time, the score level. No African nation had ever reached a World Cup semi-final, and Ghana, the last African team standing in the first World Cup held on the continent, were seconds away. A ball bounced across the Uruguay 6-yard box. A header, goal-bound. And on the line, Luis Suarez threw up both hands and palmed it away. Red card. Penalty to Ghana. Suarez walked off and then stopped in the tunnel to watch. Asamoah Gyan struck the penalty against the crossbar. It stayed out. The first African semi-final, gone on the last kick of the match. Suarez was filmed celebrating Gyan's miss. Uruguay won the penalty shootout. It belongs here because it was the cruelest thing the World Cup has ever done to a continent. A man breaking the rules on purpose, taking his punishment, and winning anyway. Number 8. Iniesta wins it for Spain. The final. Spain against the Netherlands in 2010. A violent, ugly match. 14 yellow cards and a sending off. Spain had never won a World Cup. Not once in their history. Extra time and the game crawling toward penalties. In the 116th minute, Cesc Fabregas slides the ball through and Andrés Iniesta meets it on the volley. 1-0. Iniesta pulled off his shirt to reveal a message written underneath, a tribute to Dani Jarque, a fellow footballer who had died the year before. A nation that had spent its entire history as football's great underachievers were finally champions of the world. Number 7. Ronaldo completes the great comeback. In 1998, hours before the final, Ronaldo suffered a seizure in the team hotel. He played anyway, a ghost of himself, and Brazil lost to France. What had happened to the best striker on earth was never fully explained. Then came the knee. Ruptured tendons, repeated operations, years out. Doctors who said he might not play seriously again. He returned for the 2002 World Cup and scored 8 goals. In the final against Germany, he scored both, with a haircut that had mothers of young boys all around the world crying themselves to sleep. Brazil were champions. Ronaldo was the tournament's top scorer. From a body that had broken down completely to the best player at a World Cup he won. It belongs 7th because it was the rarest thing in sport. A redemption that delivered the exact ending it was written for. Number 6. Germany versus Brazil, 2014. The semi-final. Brazil, the host nation, 5-time world champions, playing at home in front of their own people. Germany scored in the 11th minute, then the 23rd, then 3 goals in 6 minutes. 5-0 after 29 minutes. In a World Cup semi-final. To the hosts. The cameras cut to Brazilian fans in the stands crying, holding their heads, no longer watching. It finished 7-1. A nation that defines itself through football was taken apart on its own soil, at the one tournament it could not afford to lose, in the most public way imaginable. There was no single moment to point to. The moment was the scoreline itself. It is sixth because shock, on its own, only takes you so far. But no result in modern football has ever been less believable. Number 5. The Zidane headbutt. World Cup Final 2006. Italy against France. Zinedine Zidane's last match before retirement, as he had already announced this was the end of a great career. He had scored a Panenka penalty in the 7th minute. He was playing in the World Cup final like a man taking a victory lap. Then, in extra time, words were exchanged with Marco Materazzi. Zidane turned, walked toward him, and drove his head into his chest. Red card. Zidane walked off, past the trophy, and out of football forever. Italy won on penalties. One of the greatest players the game has produced ended his career not by lifting a cup, but by being sent off, for reasons no one outside that moment will ever fully understand.
Number 4. Morocco reached the semi-finals, 2022. No African nation had ever reached a World Cup semi-final. In nearly a century of the tournament, the furthest any had gone was the last 8. Morocco beat Belgium, ranked second in the world, in the group stage. They knocked out Spain on penalties. Then they beat Portugal in the quarter-final. By the time they reached the semi-final, they were no longer just Morocco. They were carrying an entire continent and most of the Arab world with them. France ended the run in the semi-final. It didn't matter. Fourth, because it was the purest underdog story the modern World Cup has produced. Not one upset, but a sustained, impossible run that rewrote what was thought possible for half the planet. Number 3. Argentina versus France, 2022. The greatest final ever played. No longer quite a claim, close to a consensus. Argentina led 2-0 through Messi and Ángel Di Maria and were in complete control. Then, with the game nearly gone, Mbappé scored twice in under 2 minutes. Extra time. Messi scored again. Mbappé answered from the spot to complete his hat-trick, the first in a World Cup final since 1966. 3-3. In the dying seconds, Kolo Muani was through on goal, and Emiliano Martinez somehow saved it with his outstretched leg. Penalties. Argentina won them. And at the end of the wildest match the tournament has ever produced, Lionel Messi finally lifted the World Cup. It is third because the greatest game football has staged was also the one carrying its heaviest stakes, and it ended the only way the sport would have accepted. Number 2. The Hand of God, 1986. The quarter-final. Argentina against England, 4 years after the two nations had gone to war over the Falklands. The match carried all of that history into 90 minutes. In the 51st minute, Diego Maradona rose for a high ball with the goalkeeper, Peter Shilton. He could not reach it with his head, so he punched it into the net with his fist. The referee did not see it. The goal stood. Afterwards, Maradona said it was scored a little with his head and a little with the hand of God. England have never forgiven it. Argentina celebrate it as cunning, not cheating. Number 1. The goal of the century, 1986. 4 minutes later, the same match, the same player. Diego Maradona collected the ball inside his own half, with his back to goal and surrounded by England players. He turned and he ran. Past 1, past 2. Where he had cheated to score, Maradona scored the greatest goal the World Cup has ever seen. The villain and the genius, 4 minutes apart. FIFA later voted it the goal of the century. It is first because nothing else combines what this does: the rivalry, the history, the controversy, and then the single most perfect goal ever scored, all inside the same afternoon. Some moments win matches, some moments win trophies, and some moments become bigger than the tournament itself. If you think something belongs higher or got left out entirely, that's what the comments are for.